Hello, everybody, and welcome to iHLS Innotech International Conference. In this segment, we'll discuss OT, IoT, and SCADA. In other words, how to defend, maybe attack, infrastructure and instruments in line with new technologies. Very distinguished guests here. Please introduce yourselves. Michael?
Michael Arov. I'm managing the cyber product line in RAFAEL. Actually, everything that is cyber inside the company is under my jurisdiction.
RAFAEL, Israel's, how do you describe your industry?
Well, it's one of the biggest defense companies and the most innovative one. And we are doing
here you are.
everything.
Guy?
My name is Guy Mizrahi. I'm the Chief Cyber Officer at RayZone Group, also the head of the cyber committee here at the conference.
Great. And Ronen joins us remotely. Hi, Ronen. Introduce yourself, please.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ronen. I'm the Chief Technology Officer of SCI, which is dealing with red team activity, emulating hacking activities to challenge defenses of organizations.
Okay. Michael, let's start with you. You are dealing with, on one hand, hardware, on the other hand, software, and anything in between. And the result is some of the stuff we've seen here in this conference blows up a lot of things.
Yes.
How do you play between hardware and software?
Well, hardware and software are two sides of actually the same thing, okay? At the end of the day, what RAFAEL produces and what we are trying to protect and talking about it here in this section is a system. A system combines of hardware and software. And both of them need to be healthy and secured in order for them to operate. So this is what we are doing. We are making sure that the physical part is working correctly and also the cybernetic part is also working correctly. And the cross-relationship between them is working correctly.
Well, when you start building something from scratch, it's both ways, hardware and software together, right?
Yes.
And how do you process this? Give us some tips.
Well, I'm dealing personally with security, okay? There are many smart people in RAFAEL and building wonderful things. Personally, I'm in charge of security. So security must be there from the first stage of the development. When you design your hardware and design your software and vice versa, you start with security in mind. And only then the system that you are producing in the end will be secured.
Mm-hmm. Guy, with great technology come great risk, and we should always remember that. So when it comes to technologies in the battlefield, the risk is there.
Yeah, of course, the risk is there. And I'll add to what Michael just said. It's the systems that basically built from hardware, software, and human beings that basically monitor, maybe change all kind of things inside those systems. And we can manipulate or attack or try to do all kind of magic things on all those three layers, the hardware, the software, and the people itself.
Right. Ronen, take us a little bit to how you defend against cyber wars and, on the other hand, maybe attack.
Yeah, so we are coming from a different perspective that is assuming that every great developer, even from RAFAEL, do mistakes. And our challenge is to find our mistakes and actually see how the attacker can use them in order to break the system. So we are actually taking it from like the sports that the best defense is offense. And we are actually proactively looking for problems, mistakes, and challenges that the great engineers have done, and everyone is doing mistakes. And this is our job, to find it a step ahead of the bad guys and work hands to hands with the engineers that develop it in order to fix it before the cyber attack will take place.
So basically you challenge the systems. It's like a football game. You're the enemy in this game, and you're trying to pinpoint where the problem is in the defense?
Yeah, our challenge is to, we call it to embarrass the engineer, not from the bad side, but really actually find their problems. Using it, we are doing it by actually taking the business goal. For example, if it's a train, we need to shut down the train. If it's an aircraft, we need to take control of the aircraft. using what we call a freestyle. Everything is possible with the capabilities, with the idea that a combination of mistake probably will lead us to the achievement that we are looking for. And then we are doing a reversing, kind of a lesson learned, or in the Air Force, we call it a feedback lesson, in order to learn step by step what we have done as an attacker and how the defenders and the engineer can actually improve it and fix the problem in order to be better protected.
Do you do this in theory, or you actually do stuff like that?
No, we are hands-on guys. We are keyboard guys. No theory. There is no what if, no questionnaires that like it used to be. We are actually shutting down the light in the manufacturing or taking control of a car. We found it much more effective when engineers, they always tell us, you are talking only theory. So after they see it in their eyes that we took control, for example, on a car, there is no doubt there is a problem. Now the discussion become more effective, kind of, okay, let's see how we can fix it.
Oh, this is
keyboard guys.
Scary stuff there. Let me ask you, Michael, how do you protect your products and the whole, process against cyber attacks?
Well, like I said earlier, we start from design. Okay, the moment you start to put your ideas on a page and imagine what will be the final product, you need to think about cybersecurity. And this is a process that starts from beginning and through and follows all the way till the final product and even afterwards when you deliver it. We should remember that the human factor is always the weakest link of the solution. So we also need to take the human factor in mind, how the operator will operate the system, what kind of information can be leaked, what kind of information he can discuss on with his loved ones and somebody can hear and then attack the system. So this is the process.
Yes. Guy, obviously in large organizations, many employees, things are, very big and can leak around. How do organizations keep their workforce intact in this kind of threats that we're hearing are like thousands in an hour?
First of all, I think that in the OT, IoT, and SCADA, there are a lot less attacks. I don't think that there are no attacks, because there are, but very handful of people you have that really sit down and see those systems, take control of those systems, and so on. So basically, if you look at the IT industry, let's say an organization has 5,000 people. In the OT industry, in the same organization, you'll have 10, 15, or 50. So basically, the attack surface is much smaller if you look at let's say, the human factor. If we are talking about the infrastructure itself, in most cases, it's supposed to be disconnected, not directly connected to the regular network and so on. In some cases, it doesn't work like this, and we've seen all kinds of attacks on USA, all kind of nuclear facilities and so on, because those were connected to the internet.
Ronen, we're in the era where, at least we expect in the near future, to have almost everything connected that way or another, from home to work to anything in between. Is it protectable at all?
So, nothing is protectable, but on the other hand, as Guy said, from one hand, it looks like it used to be that the OT and SCADA and manufacturing line are theoretically a bit more protected because what we call the attack landscape or the human factor is less relevant there. But the digital revolution that actually, as you said, put everything connected, everything smart from business perspective, because it's easier maintenance. You can do a remote work and remote configuration. So companies that want to keep their revenue, especially in these times, are moving more and more to digital, which for us as the attacker side, making our life much more easier, because everyone at the end is doing a mistake, because as you open it to more digital and more human coming to the factor, to the game, then it becomes easier to attack. Of course, there are a few levels of protection. You can reduce it, but I can tell you, and my friends in the panel can tell, we have more than 25 or 30 years of experience in this domain. I don't think we never fail to hack a product or a system. So the statistics is against the defender.
What do you see more? You see targeted, organized attacks, or a lot of just phishing and moving around and trying to find some holes?
Yeah, so from amount perspective, you see much more noise, of course, because there are too many of those small fishes. But we can definitely see in the last few months, more and more nation-level players are coming to the game. If until, let's say, even a year ago, nations' capabilities was behind the scenes and were very under the radar, we can definitely see in the last few months, more and more advanced players are coming to the game, either nation, either big organized crime. Looking, for example, one of the top of them is information about COVID-19 vaccine. Some of them are looking for manufacturing line alternative because supply chain was shut down around the globe, and they are looking for some IPs. So we definitely see the bigger players are coming to the game. Of course, the number of attacks there are much smaller comparing to all of the noise, but their attacks are much bigger, much smarter, and much more effective comparing to those phishing campaigns.
Right. Michael, is there a point where you might say something like, okay, these machines are very sophisticated, great robots, it's amazing, but I'm afraid it's maybe not that safe. Let's not do this now.
Well, first, we don't have a choice. We do keep in mind that when comparing to IT security, what you have in banks and institutions, where people can steal your money, steal your identity. In OT, you are talking about jeopardizing human safety. And this is a factor that is really important. This is also in our mind when we are designing the defense systems that we are designing in RAFAEL. This is part of the game. So we need to make those systems secure. We need to move forward with technology, and we don't have any other choice. So yes, this is a game in mouse and cat game, but at the end of the day, we cannot lose this game.
But you have to be aware of the risks, obviously.
Of course.
So anything that comes into like the manufacturing floor these days has to be checked for security first?
Yes, everything. Everything that concerns the manufacturing, the design, even the delivery, everything needs to be on the table and need to be part of the big picture, the cyber picture, the cybersecurity big picture. And this is what we are doing, okay? Every time the attack, the possible attacks are getting more and more interesting or innovative, and this is why we need to look at all the aspects. This is what we are doing.
Guy, a final remark?
I think that this world is, the OT, the IoT, and SCADA world is very sophisticated. I think that in some cases you're dealing with very old equipment that doesn't have any option to defend itself. And I think that one of the main fears is that the Hollywood stuff of changing those traffic lights and so on will become real. As a hacker, as a former hacker, I can tell you that you can do those kind of things.
Still, today.
Yes, you can still do it today. And really, it frightens. But, in the end, we need to continue our regular lives.
So they say. Thank you very much, gentlemen. That's it for this panel. We'll see you soon in the next segment.